Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a couple weeks since I have posted anything, and that's because we have been adjusting to the life of a newborn. You'll notice me kind of swaying here. I'm sitting on the ottoman of the rocker with my baby here in my arms, and I'm here to tell you about her birth story today. So her due date was January 3rd, and I actually went into the hospital on January 3rd thinking that I was in labor and we were gonna have this baby. But by the time we actually got to the hospital that morning, my contractions had fizzled out. So they had gotten strong over the night, and then woke up and I was like, I think we should go to the hospital just in case. I've never been in labor before. So we went to the hospital and we sat in triage for a little while they monitored my contractions, and I was only 2 centimeters dilated, so they gave me the option of either going home or I could stay if I wanted to, and I was like, why would I stay? I don't want to stay in the hospital for longer than I actually need to. You see Lily back there. So we went for a little walk, like we went shopping, and then we went to get some lunch, and then we came home and just relaxed the rest of the day. Overnight, my contractions really picked up. It got really strong, and I had a birth plan in place. I thought, I was gonna try and do this all naturally, but the contractions overnight got really bad. I did start bleeding towards the middle of the night, and I had called the hospital and said, what should I do? Because I had a cervical exam earlier that day, so it could have been bleeding from that. And they just told me to monitor it, and if it continued to bleed, then come in. If it didn't, then go ahead and stay home. So the bleeding stopped after about an hour. That was probably around midnight. So I tried to go to bed. Contractions just kept getting worse and worse, but I labored at home, stayed at home. And then it was about probably 7 o'clock in the morning. Contractions were intense. I couldn't talk through them. I couldn't walk through them. I couldn't do anything. It was other than tense up and be in pain. I tried my best to breathe through everything, just like all the books that I read, everything, all the videos, the instructions, everything, and the pain was way more intense than I had ever imagined. But it was about 7 o'clock, 7:30, and I started bleeding again. And so then we had made the decision, okay, let's start getting everything ready to go to the hospital, because this is real. They were coming every 2 to 3 minutes. It was super intense. And then right before I got in the car, I had a contraction, and the pain was so painful that I ended up throwing up. So I ended up getting sick, and then we were off. We had about a 30-minute drive to the hospital. And when I got to the hospital, they were wheeling me in. I had a major contraction going through the doors, so they didn't even put me through triage. They just straight admitted me into a labor and delivery room. And they checked me. It was about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning when they checked me on arrival, and I was 6 centimeters dilated, so I had done a lot of laboring on my own at home, which was really great. And they thought our baby would be born maybe between noon and 1 o'clock that day. So the pain kept increasing. It was to the point where I couldn't handle it anymore. And like I had said, I, she's stirring, had planned on doing this all naturally and everything, but at this point I don't know how I would have had the energy to continue without getting an epidural. So I decided to get an epidural, and we got the epidural around 10 o'clock. Our anesthesiologist was amazing. He got it perfect. I didn't feel a single thing. It was great. However, the epidural did slow down our labor, so we did not have our baby between noon and 1 o'clock. I was 9 centimeters at like 3 o'clock. And by 5 o'clock, I was still only 9 centimeters. I was not progressing anymore. So we opted to do a little bit of Pitocin just to help me get that last like centimeter out of the way. And then it took about 3 hours for that to open up, for me to open up completely, dilate completely. We did the peanut ball, we did everything, you know, laboring on my side, everything possible we could. So about 8 o'clock, they checked me. I was 10 centimeters. Oh, by the way, also, sorry, mom brain here. They also broke my water about 3 o'clock, and that's when things escalated to 9 centimeters. So 9 centimeters for about 2 hours, 3 hours. 5 o'clock rolls around, I'm still 9 centimeters. I've been stuck there for a couple hours, so we opted for Pitocin, just to give me that extra push. And then 8 o'clock came around and I was 10 centimeters dilated and ready to push. So we started pushing, and it wasn't horrible because I had that epidural. The pain, you know, I could only feel pressure, which was nice. However, I was exhausted and I hadn't eaten anything, and remember, I threw up that morning, so I had absolutely nothing in my stomach, and had been laboring for a while. So we pushed and pushed and pushed. About 11:30 rolls around, so we're 3 hours and 3.5 hours into pushing, and her head is still not out, and I am exhausted. We tried all different kinds of pushing, you know, all different stances. We even had the squat bar, all kinds of stuff, and she was just not budging. She could just, like, a little bit at the top of her head was showing, but I couldn't pass her head. So at that point, I leaned back in exhaustion. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what to do. Like, I can't continue this. You know, you're pushing every 2 minutes for, you know, a while. You're super tense, everything. So you're exhausted. So we opted to vacuum assist. So we did a vacuum assist vaginal delivery, and she was born at 11:46 p.m. So way past, 12 hours past what they predicted that she was actually going to be born. And yeah, so she came out a lot bigger than they anticipated. They thought she was going to be between 6 and 7 pounds, and she came out 8.7 pounds. And I tore from front to back all the way through. So immediately they put her on my chest. Actually, they handed her to my husband. My husband handed her to me, and put her on top of me. And the doctor went to work and delivered the placenta because I needed to be sutured up immediately since I tore so badly. And so he went to work and started suturing, and honestly, it was bad. I could feel myself tear, and I could feel every single suture after that, even with the epidural still going. And yeah, it was pretty intense, but definitely worth it. So baby Reagan Grace was born on January 4th at 11:46 p.m. 8.7 pounds and 21 3/4 inches. So she was a long baby, and a big baby for me. I'm not a very big person, and apparently my birth canal and hips are not very wide either. So, but it's okay because it was all worth it. I found it very interesting that I had a birth plan in place. It was set, like I had such determination, and it all went out the window. And honestly, that's okay. Like, I'm totally fine with it because it meant that baby Reagan got here, and she is happy and healthy, and she's just absolutely perfect. So I'll go ahead and show her to you. She's sleeping, so hold on, let me. Oh, there she is. Yeah. So she is a little over 2 weeks. She's 2 weeks and 1, 2, 3 days today. But the first couple of days were quite the struggle, and we were in the hospital for 3 days, and then the first 2-3 days home were very intense. And thank God my husband was home and took some time off, because with my tear, it took me forever to get up and down. It took me forever to go to the bathroom. It was really intense. I could barely feed myself, especially while taking care and nursing a baby. And I mean, we're both first-time parents, so getting to know a new baby and the new baby getting to know us was quite the challenge, but we'll save all that for another video. I'll make a postpartum video and let you guys know how all that has been going. I also want to do, I never did a what's in my hospital bag video, but I want to do a what I actually used in my hospital bag video, because I literally used nothing. I think I used just a couple of items that I brought. I was in the robe the entire time because I tore so bad they had to keep coming and checking it. Anyway, it was just a mess. So stay tuned for those videos. Thank you guys for the grace that you've had and the patience that you've had over the last couple of weeks while we have been recovering and adjusting. And we're excited to see what the future holds for us. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.